Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Self-Published Success, a show that highlights forward-thinking authors who chose self-publishing over traditional and found success in doing so. My name is John Feldman. I'm the founder and CEO of Visionary Literary and your host for today's show. Our guest today is Mark Sias. In 2019, Mark left his job as a critical care nurse to start a unique legal services business called Noble Notary and Legal Document Preparers. The business has been on an uphill trajectory since its inception, and this year, alongside his wife of 15 years, Mark wrote the book A Golden Pen to shine a light on the company's success. Mark is a Florida native who, in his personal time, enjoys adventure, growing tropical fruit, and adding value to the lives of others. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
So tell us, in that brief intro, tell us a little bit more about you as a person, what got you into writing, and I guess maybe first, what made you decide to leave a very good job as a critical care nurse to start your own business?
So the nursing, something that I had a knack for, probably still have a knack for. And I guess probably deep down inside, there's always been that entrepreneurial spirit that wanted to try something. And a lot of plans launched and crashed. I'm no stranger to things like the MLMs and all that, and I love the ideas of them, but don't like that they don't pan out very well. So I've always been had that drive in me, but the nursing, it's a strenuous job. It's a very difficult job. And I've always said my whole nursing career, it's an honest living. It's a good, honest living. Where can you go through a couple of years of school and have a guaranteed job anywhere in the country and always have a check? And that was my line of thinking 15 years ago. A new dad, new husband, got bills to pay. And at that time I was a paramedic, and as a single guy as a paramedic, life's good. But when you get married and have kids, paramedic doesn't really cut the mustard. So went through nursing school. It just seemed like the obvious next step in the game, and did very well with it. I rose right up to critical care, into the top dollar. And then when I was there, I guess that internal drive to do more, have more, be more, just it was unquenched. So I decided what happened was I took a break from critical care to do what's called home health, which is where you're visiting people in their house and rendering care. And it's a lot less strenuous than the critical care nursing. But what had occurred to me was I was like, well, wait a minute. If I can get paid this much money to come into somebody's house and render nursing care, are there things that are as demand or even more demand, less time consuming, less intensive, that you could just offer people in a similar fashion? And then that was like a light bulb came. It was like days or weeks later, it was like, why don't you try this? And I literally tried it on a whim, not having much expectation, and it just kind of cascaded. And then the natural progression again to try to learn more about what it is you just stumbled into and what else can you do with that just started to grow and grow and grow into a full-time business. So
nice. Well, congrats. Yeah, you can hear the entrepreneur in you as you even talk about starting out as an EMT, moving up, and then there was always some drive to have more, and to attain more. So congrats on, again, that's a giant leap of faith, especially as you said, newly married, new dad, and then you just take a leap of faith to leave your job and start your company. So definitely a hold your breath and jump moment, but I'm glad that
there was a window there where, I hope this is going to work. It's going to work. And then within a couple of months, it seemed like I had more business than I could handle. And that's when I took my wife on. I'm like, you got to do this with me. This is the easiest money you're ever going to make. And I'm turning it away. So why don't we partner up and we'll make this a thing? And that's the story. It really one thing led to another. I realized that there are a whole plethora of what I call non-attorney legal services that you can offer people they really have a high markup. They're not as complicated as they seem. On the surface, they're just complicated enough that somebody will pay you good money to not have to headache with it. But if you're so inclined, you can master those things rather quickly, as opposed to a nurse where you've got to have a handle on hundreds of different, very dangerous, sensitive medications. This was a breeze. It's like, well, the worst thing I can do is have a clerical error, you know?
Yeah, big difference. A clerical error and somebody's life in your hands.
Right,
Medical
right.
error. So good. Not every business works out like that, where it starts and after a little while you're bringing on your wife because you're making so much money. So what? Obviously, your business is growing, right? You're having success. What was the moment that you thought like I need to write a book, or I want to write a book, or a book would benefit us in some sort of way? What was that moment?
It's funny. I didn't realize the book would benefit us until kind of almost after the fact or midway through the fact. I wanted to write the book because I was excited about what we were doing. And namely, a lot of other people were excited about what we had friends from all over going, what in the world are you guys doing? You know, they could see the lifestyle change, and they could see that something was going on. And we were shooting YouTube videos, but not really, kind of passively, not really aggressively, just kind of doing it to put out there what we're doing. And people either were intensely curious about what we're doing, or they just wanted us to teach them what we were doing altogether. Like, can you just show me how to replicate what you're doing? And we started doing that. And that was a lot of trial by fire too, because I thought, oh yeah, no problem. We'll coach people. We'll charge them a fee. We'll coach them. We'll get them on their schedule. And I realized that you better have a lot in place to do that, and better off to give them a snippet of it first. And well, if you like the snippet, if now you see kind of broad picture what we're about, then let's entertain coaching or a course or more elaborate training. It just seems like a better to get the Reader's Digest version than the full, invest your money and my time and your time. So that was part of it. Was just that we felt like there was an interest, and we, of course, were passionate about it. It seemed like we kept finding these little like niches that there was money to be had, and it just seemed like nobody else. We didn't have a lot of competition. Nobody else was really kind of paying attention to this, and we're like, are we the only ones seeing this? So we'd do it, and it would work. We would add a list of services to our business, and it would start working out. And then we're like, well, maybe we should write a book about this. And so we did, and that led us to down that road of, well, let's build a more elaborate way of training people. If people are serious about this, we'll create a more elaborate way of training people. And the book itself can be the introduction to that, or like we said, it can be a funnel in itself. Yeah. And I really wasn't aware of that until I broke into the whole online marketing, that there's a whole nother world here of lingo and knowledge, just stuff to learn and do. And it's exciting, to be honest with you. It's challenging, but it's exciting.
Challenging for sure. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the funnel. Russell Brunson just finished listening to his Traffic Secrets audiobook this morning. Yep. Yeah. Same one. It's funny. So much in there. Yeah. So very valuable, but
genius.
Yeah. So one thing that you mentioned there a couple of times is time for both you and for whoever's asking you these questions.
Yeah.
The book was meant to be an introduction to, basically it's answering the same questions that you're asked on a daily or weekly basis. People are asking you the same questions, and you want to help. Yes. But again, time is limited. So yes, instead of helping everyone individually by taking 30 minutes or so to answer all of their questions, the same questions, you put it all into a book so that when people ask, you go, here you go. Here's the book.
For $10, you know exactly what's going on in my mind.
Right. And you retain your time, but you're also able to help these people in the way that they need help. And then if they're really intrigued and they want more detailed help, that's when you get into your coaching and consulting. So that in itself is not a marketing funnel, but it is a funnel of how you can help to educate the people that come to you, see you as an expert and as a resource. And
exactly. Yeah. There's a level of that too. You do establish yourself as an authority in what you're doing, but people can read the words you put down and they can gather that, well, he does have a clear understanding of what he's talking about. This isn't fly by night stuff that he made up. He's clearly laying stuff out in this book that he's done, and he's lived it. So
yeah, that's important too, because it is with self-publishing, and we were talking about Amazon KDP and how so insanely easy it is. It just walks you through the steps to upload. There are so many people that just upload basically anything. They don't really take the time to make sure that it's beyond like first draft status. So you obviously went through, wrote it, rewrote it, edited all of that.
Yeah,
So
we
you make
we, we
sure.
talked about some of that.
Well, I mean, a spelling error here and there is,
Yeah,
you find that in traditionally published books. You find it everywhere. But the fact that you can elaborate or just pour your knowledge into the pages, that's what's most important. Because then again, the people that come to you and ask you questions, you hand them the book, they read that book, and they're like, wow, like this guy or he and his wife know exactly what they're talking about. So we want to come to them as a future more detailed resource.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, you have this business, right?
Mhm.
And you're finding success in it. People are coming to you. You decide you want to write a book. Why do you choose the self-publishing route over reaching out to literary agents or publishers and saying, and just demonstrating your knowledge and saying, hey, how about you join me in this venture?
That's a good question. I mean, just on the surface, I think you can dismiss one as a monstrosity of a task,
Mm.
and the other one not so much, maybe intimidating, because as you said, if you don't know the know-how of Kindle and some of the other self-publishing, it might seem like it's difficult, and in all reality, it's not that difficult to go through that process. Kindle makes it very easy,
Yes. Yeah,
for
for sure.
sure. Almost too easy. Like you said, there people can just put garbage on the internet, and that's a little infuriating that there are people who are they're just keyword spamming books out there. But
Yes.
I would say personally, the majority of the stuff I've read by authors that aren't Russell Brunson was pretty good stuff. I've read some good stuff. I've read some things that I could tell were kind of like the PLR stuff that was like, well, but usually those ones they're wanting $2 for that book, where the stuff that you're paying, this legitimate, these people are very well qualified as well. So, why I took that process, it just seemed like the natural way to do it. It seemed like I could figure that out. And somewhere across my path of just trying to learn different things about business and marketing, I had come across the idea of self-publishing and thought, all right, well, if I'm going to do it, that's the route I'll go. So
Good. And then have you, I guess, within that, like, did you look into traditional publishing at all, or did you just think like, I got this, I know it? Again, from everything
I
that,
think I just wholly dismissed it as probably sending a manuscript to somebody, and then why have them shoot you down if you are pretty certain you've got a winner, and I know that I know what I'm talking about, and I want to talk about it anyways, then I guess I don't need your approval.
yeah, yep. And that's a very good point for anyone who has a business, right? Again, you have a business, you have success in that business, you already have people asking you questions. You don't need to go that traditional route where you need to seek approval from a literary agent, and then they need to seek approval from a publishing house, and then you wait 2 years for the editors
Right.
to review. So again, it is retaining that creative control and shortening that time span from idea to book publication and launch. That's something that obviously you took advantage of, and it's worked out because, as you
Yeah.
said, but before we hit record here, but your sales were coming in, but then also on top of sales and royalties that you've had from the book, how has the book helped your business and your credibility?
Well, I think a lot. I think that there is this esteem, or this, I guess, project. If you do write a book, it's legitimately published. You can physically see it there. I'll put that there. You can physically see there's some credibility. It's like this person was really passionate about it. And if they read the words in it and they're your words, they can understand that they really do know what they're talking about. They couldn't have concocted this stuff. There's only so much stuff you can Google, I mean,
Right.
some of
Right.
it, you had to have lived it. Either you did it or you didn't do it, and you knew what you were talking about. And you have real life, people can sense real when they read it, and they can sense your real life anecdote in the book that this panned out. So uh, it has helped in that as we decided to continue coaching people and then turning coaching into a more feasible course creation, it has helped establish that you are an authority figure, you're reputable in the community, in the country for that matter. as somebody who does it professionally. And you can also use that as, you can use it as your introduction lead magnet, however you want. Personally, and this is a new development, but personally, we use it as, I use it as a book funnel. So I do run ads for our course with the book as the low entry, so basically my pitch is you can buy the audio and the digital version from me for $7, or you can pay $10 to Amazon or $10 to Audible, or get them both from me for $7. And then you're my contact, So.
And then you control your traffic, or you own your traffic, right? Like Russell Brunson says. It's funny.
Yeah. So it ends up that part, it's like a wash, like the ad spend washes the book. But then I now have developed these connections that if they decide to use my consultation services by whatever means, they're there, it's available. So it's a brilliant idea.
It really is. And it's funny, again, we're talking about Russell Brunson, and you have his book. I just listened to it. When our marketing manager, who introduced me to Russell Brunson and all his stuff, when he hears this episode, he's going to be texting me a lot, because he is all about, Russell Brunson. And anyone who is listening, who may be marketing your book, promoting your book, seems daunting, scary. Obviously, I do not know Russell Brunson. I wish I did. But if you go and find some of his books, obviously, Mark, it has helped you tremendously to gain some leads for your business and to get your book out.
It has. I really wish that, like, it's not limited to digital. I think people think, well, I'm not going to be an affiliate guy or a funnel guy. This works for my small local business here. What he lays out in there works for that just as well. It's applicable across the board. So don't pigeonhole Russell Brunson into the online world, for sure. It's good stuff.
Good. So Mark, where can people find more about, where can they find your book? Obviously, if inside that funnel, where can they find you, your business, etc.?
Yeah. So obviously the book is everywhere as I can make it. So like we talked about, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, not Ingram Spark yet, but Drafted Digital, and which I think they put that through Barnes and Nobles and some of those.
Yes.
And then, of course, we sell it right off our website. My website for my local business is legaldocprepnotary.com. And that is my local business that I own and operate here. That's the real thing. But you could go there and you could click and you could buy the book there. And then we're on Facebook and everywhere else. We have a YouTube channel that is Noble Notary and Legal Document Preparers, which is the name of our business. And we will, occasionally drop links in there to either the book or to the course we're offering. And mainly we'll just do videos about what our everyday life looks like and what we've learned in business, just concepts that work, like over delivering, and not trying to cut yourself out of the market by lowering prices, being a price pirate, just kind of just hold to delivering quality. So we'll do videos like that, just kind of letting other people know if they're interested in our business, or maybe they're in our business, but they want to level up. So,
right.
That answer your question?
It did. Yes. So
basically,
okay. You have many different resources, many different places where people can find you. So anyone listening, anyone who wants to, again, tap into your knowledge and read your book, they can certainly do so in the areas that you just mentioned. So Mark, this has been a great episode. Congrats on all of your success in the few years that your business has been around. Again, a big leap of faith, leaving your job after 15 years to start this. So well-deserved. You took a lot of risk and you deserve the reward. So congrats. Thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing how your business thrives in the future.
Yes, John. Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, Mark, take care.
Pleasure.